This video is sponsored by Atlas VPN. One of the biggest things the Total Drama franchise is known for is its various couples, especially amongst the current fan base that was dedicated enough about Total Drama to keep the community in a pretty active state even before the newest seasons were announced last February. I think the first time I really caught a glimpse of online shippers was through Total Drama, believe it or not. This series has tons of couples, some better than others, but nonetheless at least somewhat entertaining to watch on screen for the most part, which is why I'm going to be giving my thoughts on every single Total Drama couple from Total Drama Island up until the Redonkulous race. Not going to be going incredibly in depth for some of these couples since some of them didn't even last too long either, so just keep that in mind and bear with me. You're totally free to leave as much thoughts as you want in the comments below on any of the couples from this video if you feel like I didn't talk enough about them. Just like I'm going to be sharing some of my thoughts on Atlas VPN. Back in the day, I used to hop from website to website thinking I would be safe and sound. Spoiler alert, I wasn't. When you use the internet without a VPN, you might as well be asking someone to steal all your info or to be targeted by ad companies. And with Atlas, not only will it remove all those pesky ads from your screen, but it will keep your information safe. As someone who loves reading the Wikipedia pages for some of my favorite animated characters, it's never fun seeing those pages filled to the brim with ads. But with one simple click, I can freely roam the collector's wiki page safe and sound. Essentially what this does is it hides your information through a protective pipeline and makes so those third parties can't see it. But wait, there's more. VPNs do the standard thing of allowing you to access region-locked content, making it so you can cut down your subscription services. Not only that, but you're able to get region-locked deals through Atlas. By making yourself look like you're in a different country, you can go somewhere like Brazil, for instance. Hypothetical, of course. And once you've done that, you can buy YouTube Premium, making that annoying $11.99 a month if you're in the States go all the way down to $3.74 a month. You want to try to tell me that's not worth it? I thought so. It's impossible to be losing money when you use Atlas, and right now Atlas is running a special deal where you can get a 3-year subscription for just $1.99 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Just click the link in the description or in my pinned comment and it can all be yours. Time is running out though, so act fast. Click that link and get Atlas VPN today. Gonna start off with one of the fan favorites, right? That being Gwen and Trent. These two started off great for sure. The build-up for their relationship felt very well paced and earned for both parties, even having some hiccups along the way with the whole buried alive incident in the Fear Factor episode. It was nice seeing them overcome a big hurdle like that before they actually became official. I know it's a cartoon, but I always like when shows have realistic aspects for romantic relationships. The buried alive thing is one thing, but someone being fucked up enough to kiss one of the parties involved just to create a rift between the two original parties could very well happen in real life. They stayed together for a bit in action, but things got messy super quick. Trent became a bit obsessive / fueled by jealousy over Duncan before his elimination. Even if the whole 9 thing never happened, they still would have broken up. Let's be real here. Gwen specifically stated she didn't want him throwing challenges for her, which had nothing to do with his 9 habit. It's a shame things derailed that quickly for them, but I'm pretty sure the crew wanted Gwen and Duncan to be a thing for a bit, so they decided to get the jump on it sooner rather than later. That's my theory anyway. Speaking of Duncan, let's talk about he and Courtney next. Arguably the most entertaining couple to watch in all of Total Drama, these two were a match made in hell. At first I thought they were opposites attract kind of thing, but in reality they just brought out more of their true natures the more time they spent together. Courtney became more unhinged and wild like Duncan, arguably being an even more unhinged than him when she was on her worst behavior, while Duncan got more sensitive and caring for others' well-beings, but still did what he had to do even if it meant showing his loyalty to his girl. Mainly constantly picking on Harold throughout the majority of Total Drama action as a way to avenge Courtney's rigged elimination from the previous season. Their relationship was toxic for sure, mainly because of how Courtney would act, but damn would I be lying if I didn't get enjoyment out of seeing these two interact whenever they were on screen together. Even till the bitter end, Duncan cared about Courtney when she didn't. I'm starting to think that he had a thing for girls who gave him a hard time even if he was in the right. Let's talk about Lindsay and Tyler next. They were a good match but didn't have the same level of development as the two couples I previously discussed, mainly because Tyler got booted so early in Island. They were a comedic relief couple, to be honest. These two were already really funny as individual characters, but were at least equally as funny when they were on screen interacting together as a couple. The whole bit of Lindsay being so dumb that she couldn't even remember Tyler's name during World Tour for a bit was good fun in the early episodes too. Izzy and Owen were pretty similar in how they were executed as well. Didn't really see a whole lot of screen time together until Izzy's comeback to camp after the team merger, which led to all sorts of crazy antics between the two of them, especially in the escaped psycho killer filler episode, usually involving Owen getting hurt in some kind of capacity, mainly during their World Tour interactions. As far as I'm aware, they're not together anymore after their weird breakup when Izzy became a genius, but I was always sort of indifferent on these two anyway. Jeff and Bridget really went the distance though, huh? They were how I imagined Gwen and Trent would be if the events in action didn't occur, had a lot in common, went through a couple of rough patches, notably during the aftermath era of Total Drama, and truly never stopped caring about one another. Jeff forgiving Bridget for attempting to cheat on Alejandro is where things get dicey for some, I'm sure. It's a cartoon and Alejandro didn't fully follow through on her advances, so it's not the end of the world. For the last of the original couples, I'm putting down Lashanna and Harold. See, I still don't really know to this day if these two were really together like that, to be honest. It didn't really seem like they were, but Harold obviously wanted there to be something more, and at first it seemed like Lashanna did too. But as time went by, she just wanted their relationship to be highly platonic rather than romantic. So to put them on the same level as a pairing like Sean and Jasmine, for instance, wouldn't really make sense. However, I wanted to mention them regardless because of how much time they spent together, and they did technically kiss. They're one of the most memorable pairings in Total Drama, and they were solid together for sure. Gwan and Duncan are up next. I know I just said Harold and Lashanna were the last Island pairing, but these two technically didn't get together until after Island was over, so they had more common interests between each other than he and Courtney did and Gwen and Trent did, and they did seem genuinely happy for a while. The only annoying thing is that All-Stars made it seem like their relationship wasn't even, real or genuine the entire time, mainly on Duncan's part. Gwen broke up with him because it got to the point where every time they did something couples would do, he wanted to make sure Courtney was in eye view. Even asking Gwen herself if she thinks she noticed Courtney paying attention to them, it's truly a shame. Heather and Alejandro might have been one of the most toxic couples in the show, but damn were they entertaining. It's because of how dangerous each of them were as individual players. It was always a treat to see whenever they went head to head. He was so evil, it gave the audience a reason to actually root for Heather of all people in World Tour. The issue with them was they were too alike, and that included their negative traits as well. They had a bit of a honeymoon phase in the finale of All-Stars, but even that didn't last long. Their true desires lie in becoming millionaires off the cash prize and were willing to lose each other at the chance of getting that money again. Only Al was willing to give it another go after Mike won. A perfect segue into the first couple from the Revenge of the Island era, Mike and Zoe. They were an interesting set, that's for sure. I think these two had more screen time than any other couple during both All-Stars and Revenge of the Island, at least on the surface with, Mal and all. Although the way the show depicted Mike's DID wasn't the most ideal, the fact that someone with that disorder was included in the cast at least brings, more awareness to mental health issues. I bring this up because his DID was a big factor in the hurdles throughout he and Zoe's relationship. He was terrified of being rejected by her because of how much he'd grown to like her, and he didn't want his DID messing that up. So seeing Zoe being able to accept him for who he was in the end was very sweet. I'm glad they got a happy ending in All-Stars. It's just we never really saw them interact a whole lot like some of the other previous couples because Mike became the main antagonist for the season. I guess you could argue that Mal was so good at acting, and that's how real Mike would have treated Zoe during those episodes anyway, but who knows? Dakota and Sam were nice too. It was the trope of the popular rich girl falling for the nerdy nice guy, but with a twist, that being Dakota turning into a radioactive mutant. But Sam loved her anyway, even more after that. If that's not true love, then what is? Scott and Courtney might be my least favorite couple in this video. Their attraction towards each other, mainly Courtney's attraction towards him, felt so random and out of place. I feel like they just wanted to have Courtney be with someone who was somewhat similar to Duncan again, and I guess that was maybe her rebound for Duncan after they broke up. Even if for an incredibly short period of time, they pretty much went through what Heather and Al went through in the All-Stars finale, i.e. the honeymoon phase into turning on each other. Only Scott and Court had almost zero build-up. At least Heather and Al were being built up through World Tour interactions. Chris and Larry. Yeah, you know what? Let's just move past that one, actually. I'm sorry I brought that up. I'm going to keep my words on Sean and Jasmine sweet and to the point because I already did an entire video about these two earlier this year. Feel free to check that out if you haven't already. Essentially, these two were the saving grace for that season in my opinion, both as individual characters and as a couple, had tons in common on top of good build-up and dealing with the hurdles in their relationship that they were able to overcome, leading to a happy ending for the both of them. It was great. Mark, what about Dave and Sky? Nope. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you very much. Now for the home stretch with the redonkulous race couples is Carrie and Devin, the best friends turned lovers. We all know these two were going to end up together before they got eliminated or won. It was pretty obvious. The question was how they were going to end up together. It was cool how they added the factor of Devin already having a girlfriend back home the whole time. eventually leading to him getting dumped and having to deal with that while Carrie tried to support him. He wasn't the easiest to deal with during that time period, but he was able to realize his wrongdoings after going through those stages of grief, so that was nice, resulting in the relationship they're still currently in, as far as we know anyway. Crimson and Enwi, although very poster board goth stereotypes, acted very normal with their interactions as a couple. I think they acted more normal as a couple than any other couple in the entire series, which is a very interesting contrast to their labels for that season, because they're just like stereotypical goths. But it made me appreciate them even more. I was also a big fan of how even when they, got ungothed, quote unquote, they were still willing to be with each other regardless of how their faces looked then. Granted, they changed back to goths anyway later in that same episode, but it's the thought that counts. Ryan and Steph were not my favorites. Ryan was okay, but good lord, Stephanie was so annoying. It seemed like they were trying to mimic how Duncan and Courtney acted when they were on their worst behavior, only amplified tenfold. Not only that, but 90% of the time, Stephanie was so in the wrong and acting extremely toxic towards Ryan. Most of the time, it just came off as annoying, and I wasn't a huge fan when a lot of episode screen time was centered around them. Unless Steph was suffering or something. Now last, but certainly not least, Emma and Noah. Noah getting a girlfriend was one of the best things to happen to his character. He was always a fan favorite even before he met Emma, but meeting her brought out a side to him that us viewers didn't even know he had. He was a very cold and distant person a lot of the time, even around Owen. Seeing this more vulnerable side to him after he met Emma was a very nice change of pace. They had their minor missteps, like when Emma became too into him to the point where she couldn't even focus on the competition, leading to Noah becoming depressed until he was eliminated. I think their honeymoon phase lasted longer than any other couple, which is crazy because you wouldn't think Noah of all people would be involved in a honeymoon phase this severe. Definitely my favorite couple from the Ridiculous Race season, for sure. Let me know in the comments below your favorite total drama couple, as well as any thoughts you'd like to add about the couples in this video I didn't already go over, like I said previously. I'd love to see. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like down below. It helps out a ton. But for now, I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Take care. Bye-bye.